being paid is completely out of proportion with the contribution they're making.
At Spotify, yes, a huge group.
Just when Meghan Markle believed she had finally taken control of her story, the silence cracked wide open, exposing a truth too loud to ignore. In a twist no one saw coming, Lady Colin Campbell has allegedly unearthed the long-whispered tightly hidden photos from Meghan's mysterious Yacht Girl days images the Duchess reportedly did everything in her power to erase. This isn't tabloid chatter, it's a digital storm years in the making. For so long, rumors swirled in the background, shadowed by royal image control and a polished Netflix glow. But now, the mask is slipping. Meghan is said to be furious, shaken, spiraling, and for the first time, maybe even cornered.
Super angry over Harry and Meghan's deal because they felt like it was in part due to Harry and Meghan's deal. When it comes to Netflix, the theories around holding on to Meghan
as images and receipts she fought to keep buried start spilling into the light, the past Meghan hoped was gone is catching up. According to Lady C's latest bombshell, the long-rumored photos are no longer whispers, they're real. Allegedly, showing Meghan in intimate, pre-fame moments aboard lavish yachts, the images are now out in the open. For years, murmurs of her ties to the secretive Yacht Girl world echoed through gossip columns and shadowy forums. But every time the story vanished, buried under lawsuits, firm denials, and a polished PR wall. That wall, it's crumbling. Lady C's revelation doesn't deal in mystery. It brings receipts, hidden archives, and voices that were once silent.
Outlet she takes if and when things fall apart with Prince Harry. They want the exclusive. That's why they continue to, have that relationship with her.
And now, with visual evidence surfacing, even Meghan's most devoted supporters are struggling to look the other way. This isn't just a subtle dig, it's a direct strike at a woman who spent years crafting a story of victimhood at the hands of the press. Behind the curtain, the tension is real. Sources deep in Hollywood media circles say Meghan's legal team is scrambling, pulling late nights with one mission: stop the spread. Because if these images are real, and that's the fear, they don't just threaten her reputation. They threaten to unravel years of carefully curated interviews, documentaries, and damage control. Emergency meetings, legal letters, and a tight-lipped strategy seem to be all she has left. And while Meghan works to contain the fallout, Harry is reportedly shaken. Not just by the photos, but by what they could mean, that maybe, just maybe, there were parts of Meghan's past she never let him see.
From him. Meghan Markle and her spare, Harry, are reported to be frustrated that the not-so-secret peace talks between their publicists and a senior Buckingham Palace aide were leaked to the press. But
after everything, Harry turned his back on the crown for Meghan. He went to battle with his own family, faced the wrath of the media, and stood firm against public criticism, all in her name. But now behind the scenes, he's reportedly shaken quietly, questioning whether he ever truly knew the woman he sacrificed everything for. This isn't just about hurt feelings, it's about a legacy. Meghan crafted an image built on resilience, truth, and survival. She was the woman who stood tall after being chewed up by the tabloids. But if these photos are real, they don't just cause a stir, they threaten to rewrite her story entirely, and the timing couldn't be more devastating, with Netflix scaling back, Spotify walking away, and whispers of cancellation around her with Love Meghan series. The momentum is already fading, and now this scandal drops like a hammer with no Oprah interview. No controlled narrative to catch the fall in the court of public opinion. This doesn't feel like tabloid noise, it feels like a turning point, one that could shake the very foundation Meghan spent years trying to build.
Probably comprehensive. Caught on camera, the arrival by taxi of the Sussex's communications chief officer and head of their California household, Meredith Maines. She had flown in from California. Also lovingly,
the story Meghan told of being mistreated, misunderstood, and maligned is now being seen through a very different lens, one that suggests not just silence, but strategy, not just survival, but manipulation. And as Lady C waves the so-called receipts, and social media lights up with reaction after reaction, one thing becomes clear: this storm isn't going anywhere. Anytime soon, Meghan may have tried to bury the past, but Lady C just unearthed it, and when it comes to truth, it always has a way of clawing its way back to the surface now with the Yacht Girl rumors dominating headlines. A much deeper question begins to rise: how much of Meghan Markle's carefully polished image was real royal? Watchers can't help but point out that, from the moment she stepped into the royal arena, her persona was curated sharp, polished, shaped by expert hands, but this scandal rips that image wide open, exposing cracks that may have always been there, just hidden beneath the shine.
Open.
Royal feud. Important to stress that Harry and Meghan are anxious to insist that the leak was nothing to do with them. And in fact, they maintain they're very angry that the story got out. But if it wasn't them and it wasn't their jet-setting
The palace once tried to shield her, offering protection from the media storm, enforcing a hands-off approach out of respect, hoping to make space for something new, something inclusive, but Meghan stepped away from tradition, choosing instead to tell her story on her own terms through Netflix deals, Spotify, exclusives and glossy magazine covers, and now that same spotlight she once controlled is casting harsh light on everything she chose not to say back in Hollywood. The energy is shifting. The same A-listers who once championed her every move are now quietly stepping back. Insiders say brand managers are urging their clients to steer clear of the unfolding drama, especially with those controversial photos now spreading fast and stirring backlash. One Hollywood PR expert put it simply: out here, image is everything, and Meghan's is slipping fast. When reputation is your power, losing it feels like free fall.
his spoilt brat of a brother for the racist slurs and insults he has hurled across the Atlantic at his bemused relatives. As far as Wills and the similarly seething Kate are concerned, Harry and Meghan are beyond redemption.
Even the quiet from once loyal voices now feels like a kind of betrayal. The same outlets that once praised Meghan's truth-telling journey have suddenly gone quiet, and the silence is loud. Whispers are swirling about NDAs being tightened, carefully worded legal letters being sent out, and backroom deals made to keep certain stories buried. But instead of calming the storm, this selective silence has only made the public more curious. Why aren't the major media players digging deeper? Why the sudden shift from explosive royal exposes to a near total blackout? Critics say Meghan's media machine is in overdrive, working overtime to control the narrative like never before, and the harder they try to contain it, the more the questions multiply.
Meghan keeps selling out of with ridiculous regularity, but the difficult Duchess's thrillingly expensive new range of Chateau Meg rosé wine has at least been successfully obtained by the lucky few.
But the internet isn't waiting for green lights or press releases. It's already deep in the hunt, and what's starting to fall apart isn't just a PR strategy, it's something far more fragile: trust. Meghan once stood as a symbol of truth, a voice for justice and women's empowerment, but now even her harshest critics say she's looking less like a truth teller and more like someone with something to hide. And the questions keep coming. If this piece of her past is real, what else has been hidden? Where is the honesty, the accountability? This isn't just another tabloid blip, it's a full-blown credibility crisis. And in the digital age where every secret has a shelf, life stories built on illusion eventually come crashing down.
Be behind the leak. We saw a string of glorious, gorgeous images of Catherine, the Princess of Wales, at Wimbledon. We saw, oh my God, Prince William on a polo horse.
Yeah.
You know, we just saw this really great, and we're not talking about.
And what about Prince Harry, the man who walked away from everything, his family, his titles, his royal role, all to stand by Meghan and defend what he believed was her truth? Now, insiders say he's stuck in the middle, torn between loyalty and the growing weight of doubt. If these allegations keep gaining traction, he may have to face a painful question. Was he standing up for his wife or defending a carefully curated image? Some say Harry's beginning to see the cost of building a life around a brand instead of a real person. Others believe he's in too deep to turn back now. As one royal insider put it, Harry isn't just married to Meghan, he's married to her myth, and now that myth is beginning to crack. And while mainstream media treads lightly, the internet isn't holding back. Reddit threads are exploding. TikTok is flooded with frame-by-frame breakdowns, and YouTube exposes are diving into every detail. Some users claim they've matched backgrounds, Timestamps even jewelry with old leaks. It's no longer gossip, it's a digital investigation, and every angle is under the microscope. Meghan's team might try to call it defamation, but the court of public opinion is already in session.
We can already see the cracks appearing, and she's nipped that in the bud.
Well, I'll tell you something else, Kinsey. If that's the case, Meredith Maines must have gone along with it. If she did go along with it.
But the court of public opinion doesn't wait for legal verdicts. The harder the truth is buried, the more determined people become to uncover it. And while some argue this is just another example of the world tearing down a successful woman, something we've seen happen far too often, others point out that Meghan opened the door herself by turning her personal story into a brand. From books to interviews to documentaries, every step carefully crafted to build a flawless image. Now that the shine is wearing off, it doesn't feel like unfair criticism, it feels like a reckoning, and with Lady C leading the charge, it's harder to brush this off as simple misogyny or racism. This isn't just a woman being attacked. This is one woman holding another accountable for what she believes has been years of carefully managed deception. The Sussex brand has always leaned on a mix of victimhood, advocacy, and heartfelt storytelling, but scandals like this chip away at the very thing that made it all believable: authenticity.
An apology, because I shouted him down, said he was a pilot. You pointed out that he wasn't. So to everyone, it doesn't happen often, but
it's never happened.
What just happened? What just happened?
What just happened? What just happened? It doesn't happen often, but I was wrong.
That image isn't just personal, it's the backbone of their brand, the fuel behind Netflix renewals, book deals, and high-profile partnerships. And if Meghan's carefully crafted story keeps unraveling, those deals that depend on her credibility could start slipping away too. Already whispers are circulating that a second Netflix docuseries has been quietly paused, and other upcoming projects are now under review. The stakes are getting higher, especially with the kind of allegations and images that could seriously damage reputations. Some legal experts suggest Meghan might consider taking it to court, but there's a catch. A courtroom means evidence, witnesses, and truth laid bare in the public record. Would she really risk even more exposure just to shut this down, or will she take the quieter route, settle things behind closed doors and hope the noise fades? Either choice comes with danger, and the world is watching to see which path she takes.
I bet he spends most of the day like kind of wrestling with his mentality, trying to work out which foot to put forward next. Right or left? Which one did I put forward?
Which doorbell do I put?
God almighty.
Do I smoke this blunt in my left hand or my right hand?
Yeah, shit.
And neither option gives the clean escape. Her team is likely hoping for every public figure hits a crossroads, and for Meghan Markle, this could be the moment where everything shifts. What started as whispers and speculation has now turned into a full-blown question of public trust. Her supporters will keep pointing to misogyny, racism, and relentless media pressure as the real issue, but even those arguments are starting to wear thin as the story takes on a life of its own.
With being the spare until she said this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
But it's his fault, isn't it? Because she's just doing what she's done well for herself, where he's the one who's brought it on.
You keep saying that, but we're not so sure about that. As we kept saying, we've said this many times, Kinsey, she thought she was marrying a billionaire, and what she actually married was a very low level.
But her critics won't hold back. They'll say one thing loud and clear: the truth doesn't fear the spotlight, and is more so called. Receipts surface. The real question isn't whether Meghan has a complicated past, it's whether she was ever truly honest about it. This story is still unfolding, but one thing is becoming undeniable: Meghan Markle's efforts to hide the past may have only given it more power, and now it's back louder, bolder, and harder to ignore, and this time no amount of silence, polished PR, or star-studded support may be enough to stop the wave that's coming.